Hello everybody and welcome to MLG TV. We've got the second game of this extended series between none other than, of course, KawaiiRice, spawning as the red Terran. He'll be facing off close by air position with EGDeMusliM spawning as the blue Terran. I'm Tumba and I've got a treat for everybody. Co-casting with me is KawaiiRice. KawaiiRice, welcome, man. Here we go, second game. You excited?
Yeah, too true. Thank you very much once again for the very lovely welcome, and very, very excited to be casting here on MLG TV. Like, what a privilege! What a privilege! This is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you to MLG, by the way, for letting us cast these replays, and also thank you to Robin Wonder, one of the MLG community casters, who unfortunately was not able to do this game. You can check him out on Twitter. Look up Robin Wonder through MLG TV and check out his other stuff. Unfortunately, as I said, not able to finish. He's actually practicing KawaiiRice to compete at MLG Orlando. So not too much time to cast, as he will be a competitor at Orlando. So good for him.
Hey, I was unaware of this. He did not tell me. I will have to congratulate him and wish him the very best of luck. But he's going to have his work cut out for him, as the lineups for Orlando in general look absolutely stacked, like any MLG. So,
you know what? I hope to become independently wealthy within the next week or two. That way I can get you over here for MLG Orlando. I'm not even going to ask your significant other. We're just going to tell her. Something came up, honey, I've got to go. Or bring her, even better. But,
yeah.
You know, of course, Boxer going to be at MLG Orlando. So I am, it literally hasn't sunk in yet.
Have you been to the other MLGs other than those? Are you going to Orlando then?
Yes, we will be at Orlando. There will be a Team Tumba house there.
Oh.
And, of course, Team Tumba has nothing to do with playing the game, merely enjoying the game and a couple cocktails. So Team Tumba, more of a house full of rowdy alcoholic casters and fans than anything else. But, hey, what can I say? Esports, man, it's where it's at.
Yeah, too true. And I'm sort of kind of jealous, in essence, right now, because being in Finland, there's none of this barcraft culture going on yet here. So, and I'm really hoping that someone decides, hey, let's do one in Helsinki or something like that. But for now, no one really cares, which sucks.
That does. I mean, there's nothing better than watching StarCraft on TV while having a beer. I must say, like it's very enjoyable. But to get to see it live is going to be great as well. Can't wait. Looking forward to that, and of course going to hit up Providence after that. So if you haven't been to an MLG, I think that you owe it to yourself to go to one, sort of thing, especially with StarCraft just kind of taking the main stage there. Host of other things too. I think they added League of Legends and you know, as well, of course, Halo was staple over there. Gears of War 3 maybe added to the lineup, so good fun. Good fun.
Yep, indeed. So, I mean, it actually, coming to this game, it actually looks like EGDeMusliM has adopted the same style that we saw KawaiiRice going with in the previous game, going for that very vast command center with the gas at a similar timing to the same time as KawaiiRice went for. You know, meanwhile, though, in the base of KawaiiRice, looking to go for maybe that Banshee pressure. Won't see any cloak out of that, as he won't have the gas for it, as he is going off just one gas. But, you know, what a great option to go for in these close by air positions, and we'll have to see if EGDeMusliM can deal with that.
Of course, yeah, I agree. It's one of those things where, you know, you really need to use the map to your advantage, and having map awareness is clutch in these games. So I feel like being the fact they are close by, and you called it once again, KawaiiRice, as you can see, building a Banshee here right away. KawaiiRice wants to play on some early aggression.
Yep, and it looks like EGDeMusliM looks to be going for maybe some Banshees as well. Throwing that Tech Lab down on his barracks, not going to be using that for Marauders, I don't think, anytime soon. And indeed, lifting that off, so moving that out of the way for his starport. And I think he'll maybe want to get a Viking out as quickly as possible and to be able to deal with that Banshee that will be coming over. And know what there? On earth am I on about Blue Flame Hellions? Probably the Blue Flame Hellion drop that he went with last game.
Well, this could be a bit precarious here for EGDeMusliM, as, you know, as you stated, the last game, forgoing the expansion and getting some units out. So, and hold that thought, here we go. Banshee is in the base now, starting to do work. EGDeMusliM needs to get this taken care of before it gets out of hand. Taking some pot shots here at some SEVs, does get a kill.
Yeah, I think that Viking, as we said before, that he's producing right now, will be able to clean this up, no doubt. But this is actually, it's a slight variation of the style that he played last game. And as I've got to come back to the fact that EGDeMusliM just prepares for everything, is so solid in general. And you know, with that bunker at the top of his ramp, he's got pretty okay against this push with those Hellions as well. And just go to the vision of EGDeMusliM. He knows nothing of what is going on in his opponent's base, but he knows the timing so well that he was able to deal with all of this with very minimal losses.
Yeah, totally in the dark once again. And you know, you stated toward the end of the last game, deMusliM kind of has this style where he's just going to come straight at you. He's going to force you to adapt to what he's doing. And I think KawaiiRice is having a bit of a problem dealing with this early on. Yeah, he was able to get some good worker kills off there, but it's sort of a where do I go from here type scenario versus deMusliM.
Yep, too true. And getting that Raven out as well, that is an interesting choice. Probably not going to be any Cloak coming anytime soon. But yeah, Raven is just such a great choice in option. It can soak up so much shots from, say, kind of Vikings if it doesn't become the Viking War going into the mid or late game. And just great, you know, in general. So much utility from Ravens can come out at any time. And deMusliM is certainly one of those players that can utilize all that utility.
Yeah, Ravens, just a fascinating unit. You know, so much diversity within one unit I think is a good thing. And I'm kind of surprised just the fact that they're underutilized. They are very expensive though, but they are underutilized in other matchups. However, you know, of course, being the bonus 1-1-1 versus Protoss, prevalent in that. And it can be quite a difficult unit to deal with. One you don't want to lose, though, because, as I stated before, they are quite expensive. Now, we do see that deMusliM has, it looks like about 5 Blue Flame Hellions now coming over to the base. He wants to do some damage here. And here we go. Blue Flames is going to be roast toast some Marines there as they're going to pull back with this Banshee. Is going to do its best to clear this up as fast as humanly possible.
Yep, indeed. Keeping those Marine numbers down, actually not too bad an option, but oh, the Hellions do end up getting cleaned up there by KawaiiRice. Not taking as many losses as you would predict from a 5 Hellion, you know, hit squad, as it were. Did a good job of, you know, just kind of deterring those guys from going into the mineral lines, etc. Banshee's obviously a pretty good counter to Hellions.
Absolutely. Being the fact that Hellions can't shoot up, at least not yet, and as we can see, these Vikings now coming over. He wants to punish deMusliM a little bit and say, hey, listen, you're not the only one that can go ahead and put on some aggression. I'm going to use these Vikings to protect this Banshee out here. And this Banshee being quite pesky, actually.
Yeah, indeed. I was expecting some kind of PDD to go down just then to save the Raven from the death of these Vikings at this point. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do that anytime soon. Hopefully he'll go for it. But no, actually going to be going for the auto turrets to try and deter them. But he will lose that Raven. And that's a, you know, a costly investment down the drain.
Oh yeah, that's what we were just saying earlier, and that's going to hurt deMusliM. And look at the supply, 86 of 86 for KawaiiRice right now, 66 of 86 for deMusliM. deMusliM not in a good spot.
No, not at all. Meanwhile, though, some Hellions did try and poke in the front, didn't get much going off there, but deMusliM has so many Blue Flame Hellions right now, 9 moving out across the map, and he's just trying to keep that reactor as alive as possible, trying to deny the Vikings from doing any more damage here, but those Blue Flame Hellions are closing in on KawaiiRice's base.
Of course, hold that thought. Here we go. We are going to see an engagement outside the natural, and Blue Flames going everywhere. But look at this. The superior firing arc and the superior numbers, once again, of the tech of deMusliM pays off as he gets into the mineral line. And here we go. SCV's pulled, and he's just going ahead and killing as many as possible as fast as he can.
Oh, that is absolutely disgusting. So many SCVs going down there. deMusliM's Hellions really paying for themselves. Not only just getting all those kills, but shutting down the mining for ages at that base. And now that is really deMusliM's gate back into this game. He seemed a little bit shaky before. That Banshee Viking pressure was giving him a little bit of problems. But, you know, he just thought, well, you know, balls to that. I'll just go and do my own damage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But he had to. He had to make something happen there. And that's how you, quote-unquote, get on your horse, go over there and make something happen. And that was great to see. I love that. He knew he was in trouble, and too many times players wait too long to make something happen. So exciting, even my dog started barking there, wanted to get into the action. He's so such a StarCraft fan Primo is. But, you know, it's been said those Rhodesian Ridgebacks, man, they love them some StarCraft. But I love this, just sending another wave of Hellions here, and why not? They're pretty cost-effective, so...
Yeah, indeed. There aren't that many Hellions here to be able to deal with this. 2 siege tanks, though, will end up pushing that back, along with a Banshee even. And that Banshee has 28 kills. Holy moly. Didn't notice that until just now. But, you know, he's actually looking to maybe go for a counter-attack with these Hellions. But he's keeping him on his toes in the middle here, sort of delaying this push, in essence.
Yeah, did EGDeMusliM kick the bee's nest, so to speak, though? Because now here comes KawaiiRice, and if he catches... Oh, he's going to manipulate exactly where the Sim City of EGDeMusliM is by granting vision, and now shelling away with these 3 siege tanks. KawaiiRice, big battle coming up. Here we go.
Yeah, indeed. The Thor is going to be able to do some great damage to those Vikings if they do clump up just a bit. And now it's really looking like he's in a bit of an odd spot. Will lose that starport. Going to be pushing in here, though. Looks like he's going to need to retreat. That is a pretty menacing force for EGDeMusliM. And the Hellions tickling these siege tanks as they flee.
Just kind of heating them up, warming them up a little bit, but actually is able to get 2 of them down. Now, he needs to be careful not to overcommit here, but he does look like he does feel like he can break this. Viking coming in to try to grant vision, turning into a bit of a Sky Terran war here. And as we can see, Thor trying to do some work, and it's just pandemonium here as the Vikings land.
Wow, those siege tanks were able to do so much damage to those siege tanks. Only the siege tanks were only really useful if there were a ton of units clumped down here, but EGDeMusliM actually cleaned that up way better than I assumed he would do. I thought he was going to get ravaged.
No, I couldn't agree more. That was amazing. EGDeMusliM showing that the best defense is a good offense. And mind you, he lost his starport and all that mess. I love how both players, their expo timing seemed to be about the same, as he is going to clear this high yield and go for that. And you can see now morphing into an orbital command. I believe that KawaiiRice will be slightly behind on this. And if we take a look at the unit counting station, we can see 58 SEVs for KawaiiRice to 50 SEVs of EGDeMusliM. However, EGDeMusliM has a slight supply lead. What a seesaw battle so far. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, too true. Really kind of back and forth ever so slightly. And with EGDeMusliM going for a lot of mech right now, going for a lot of Thors, you know, KawaiiRice is going to want to catch up in that sense. He doesn't really have any Thors out right now, doesn't have as many siege tanks out as EGDeMusliM does, so he's in a great position. Taking this gold was a fantastic option in my opinion, pure, you know, as fast as he has done, purely because of the damage he did at the front and the fact that siege tech, if you've got the right positioning, can be so strong. But actually, I want to come back to that point. It seems that KawaiiRice does have a little bit of air advantage, or did before, due to the fact that he did kill that starport. So each action has a knock-on effect. Yeah,
no, for sure. And I also like the fact that he took the high yield simply because I think that KawaiiRice is a good enough player to assume that he has taken it, taking his own high yield. But it's going to have to go ahead and hold that thought. Here we go. More action. As EGDeMusliM just keeps these waves and waves of aggression coming up. And look at this, sieging up now in between both the natural and the high yield. He's going to be a thorn in the side here for sure.
Yeah, 2-3 in fantastic fashion, using those Hellions to be able to soak up a lot of that fire, siege tank fire. And now he has, you know, siege tank superiority in turn. And all he requires now is scans, indeed, throwing those down constantly to be able to get a little bit of vision. So regardless of if KawaiiRice has the air advantage, he's going to be in a good position to be able to deal with these. He has the Thors to deter those Vikings from flying anywhere too close to his siege tanks and just burning the scans here. Wow, going for a fourth. But at the same time, a little bit of a drop in the back of EGDeMuslim's natural.
Yeah, actually, apologies, did miss that. It looks like it didn't do too much damage, though, as the SCVs were pulled, but we can see now blue flames firing away here at EGDeMuslim's SCVs as the siege tank, of course, unsieged, trying to go ahead and take care of those, clean those up. KawaiiRice needs to do this, man. He needs to get some aggression because EGDeMuslim's macro is out of control. As you stated, taking a fourth already. God, this guy's getting so good. His play is improving so much. It's unbelievable. And look, he went from a supply disadvantage to evening up, as you said, as soon as he did the first initial attack with his Blue Flame Hellions, and now he's in a supply lead, 152 of 172 to 127 of 169 of KawaiiRice. This is getting scary for KawaiiRice.
Yeah, too true. And, reinforcing this foothold that he's created outside KawaiiRice's base is just going to put him in a great position. Although, KawaiiRice going to be able to get a few shots off from the high ground here. And this has, in essence, shut down that goal base for KawaiiRice completely.
Yeah.
This happened a little bit ago, but just forcing yourself into a wedge, in between your opponent's bases can be so strong. And now, that's pushed him into a really far economy lead.
And we can see workers killed about evened out, 32 for EGDeMusliM, 40 for KawaiiRice. But I think all things said and done with the exchanges have been better for EGDeMusliM as far as the battles go. So they're about very close to even here. Of course, EGDeMusliM with a bit of a supply advantage in a mirror match, that means everything.
Yeah, and also a slight miss macro, in essence, from KawaiiRice at this point, allowing his minerals to get a little bit high, not spending as efficiently as he can do. And that's really one of the determining factors in this game. He's vastly far behind EGDeMusliM at this point in terms of the macro. And regardless of this tank numbers, it's just going to be a case of EGDeMusliM containing him in this position and taking the whole map if he wants to.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. It's sort of like he's on a hill, he started slipping and sliding, now he's in a full tumble, and what he needs to do is somehow stop himself, stabilize, and start that climb back up that hill so he can go ahead and equalize supply. But as you said, being very difficult, macro's starting to slip a little bit, and he realizes, listen, I can't take this gold, I'm going to have to go ahead and take this area back here to the northwest of the map so I can get mining again.
Yeah, and he's actually got a Ghost Academy on the way for KawaiiRice at this point, and this is quite interesting. What I think this could be for is maybe a defensive nuke in order to be able to force this unsiege from EGDeMusliM and try and reclaim back this area. I think that may be the possibility of coming out here. Of course, that might not be because, Caster's Curse.
Yeah, of course. No, but you know what? That would make the most sense. I know it's what I would do. Or I would want to do. I don't know if I was playing EGDeMusliM, this game would have been over approximately, let's see, we're approximately 20 minutes ago. So, but, having said that, all joking aside, the defensive nuke's so very strong. TLO, of course, big fan of those too. And you have to do something to break that siege line. But look at this. EGDeMusliM recognizing that by now, and this is great map sense, great game sense, KawaiiRice has probably gone ahead and taken this base. He's going to knock down these rocks so he has another attack route into the space, and here we go, Claris. He's gonna just march up in here.
Yep, probably gonna be. Oh, but the Blue Flame Hellions for KawaiiRice do roast away the Hellions for EGDeMusliM at that point. But now he's getting a good position with this siege up, and look, the nuke is on the way, almost finished. That Ghost is out as well. Will we see the nuke anytime soon? But the SCV is pulling off the line. The Hellions are trying to run in to soak as much damage as possible, and the siege tanks in the back are trying to pick off these and doing not too bad a job of it. But these numbers are whittling down.
Yeah, and here's the thing, of course, with the superior economy, EGDeMusliM can afford to throw these tanks away. It's one of those things where he can afford to be a little bit sloppy, a little bit more reckless in terms of his army units, simply because he's got such a phenomenal eco behind them that he just wants to do as much damage as humanly possible here. And look at this, EGDeMusliM has so many Vikings out right now just parked over the siege tanks.
Yeah, too true. Meanwhile, whilst we were watching that harassment up to the north, we did miss, well, I missed, in fact, a slight, a Viking engagement, and EGDeMusliM just claiming the skies at this point. This Thor will deter them ever so slightly, but these Vikings are going to be very, very pesky, and EGDeMusliM once again pushing up to this north base.
Yeah, man, he wants this base. He feels like if he can break this base, he can win the game. And, of course, he's up to, I believe, 5 bases now, so his economy is going to be out of control. He's just shelling away right now. KawaiiRice in such a bad spot.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find where this Ghost has gone. There it is. There's the Ghost. Going up to the north here. Probably going to try and... I don't know. Where does he go? I want him to use the nuke. I'm so excited.
There it goes.
There we go.
He has put down the nuke. He has called in the nuke. Whether or not it actually happens or not will remain to be seen. Scans going down everywhere here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to kill anything at all. Poor, that's such a shame. EGDeMusliM has such good game sense at this point. He knows where the nuke's going to be. He obviously spotted the red little dot. And now it looks like the final push is going to come in. All the SCVs getting absolutely roasted by these siege tanks, even throwing down some mules. And that's GG by the looks of things.
Yeah, and there's the GG. So a very exciting game there. Game number 2, of course, EGDeMusliM Don't call it a comeback in this extended series. He's been here for years. Look at this, man. He goes up. It's nice to win an extended series. I think it's nice when you're down to win that first game, because now all of a sudden you've got the initiative. So being the fact that he's up now, in this series, he's won the first 2 games. That's equalized everything. Essentially, all KawaiiRice has to do is win 2 games. But now he's evened it out, so it's one of those things where EGDeMusliM is on the charge, has all the initiative. That was a fairly amazing gameplay out of him, considering that KawaiiRice did so much damage early.
Yeah, too true. I want to sing the English national anthem, but I'd probably get shouted at, so I'll not.
You know what? I am going to learn the English national anthem simply because that's what a fan of EGDeMusliM I am. I have to say, too, it's funny you mentioned that. On Twitter, actually, they were saying on the EG's Twitter that they were out, I believe In Control tweeted, they were out at a comedy club, and EGDeMusliM sang the U.S. national anthem. So quite impressive for my man. And you know what? I don't take nothing away from Kawhi. He's a great competitor, obviously. But in this series so far, it seems like EGDeMusliM has his number. You ready to get to Game 3?
I am indeed, Tom, but let's get it on.
All right, let's do it.